What's going on, MSFers? Duelim here, back again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Professor Xavier unlock requirements and all the characters you should build and all the ones you should avoid building because you need gear tier 20. And gear tier 20 is going to be very hard to come by. We are all strapped for resources right now because the level cap increase just happened relatively recently, and we're all still pushing our rosters to level 105. So first up, we have City. Let's hop in game and see City. So you look at the City characters here, and two stand out immediately, Oath and Blade, right? Because they're part of Night Stalkers. They're great characters. They also have new stats as well, and they're going to be prime characters that are going to be good for a very long time. We also have Moon Knight, who's also part of Night Stalkers, so you could bring in three-piece Night Stalkers. Oath does have a really cool ability energy mechanic, so this could be really helpful in a campaign Dark Dimension style fight, because you're going to be getting energy a lot from getting kills. So I feel like using Oath, Blade, and Moon Knight are some really great choices, honestly. Maybe throwing in like a Green Goblin Classic as a plug-and play, and then maybe one other, maybe Robbie because of the bleeds. Working with Blade and obviously all the Night Stalker characters who put out Bleed. But I think the best piece of advice for the general public is going to be wait, because we have Spider Society here, and Spider Society is a very old team. They are most likely about to be replaced, and the rumor is that there's a Vigilante team coming, and there are two members on the Vigilante team who are City, and that's going to be Punisher and Elektra. Now, I do not know if this is true. They have not told us anything, but that is the rumor running around currently. And if Elektra and Punisher are on the team, who are both City characters, I'm presuming there's going to be other City members on the team. So that is great, and it will also mean that your skill gear is pretty much accounted for on the first section. But usually skill is the lowest amount of gear that we use. Skill and tech are usually the ones that we use the least. So that could be really good if there is a new team coming, and if it's a useful team that you want to use in a lot of game modes or an essential game mode. So hopefully that's the case. But for City right now, I'd say don't bother unless you're just going to do the three-piece Night Stalkers with two extra characters thrown in there. Next up, we're going to have Global, but we also have Villains Global. So let's go over Villains Global, and then we will go over Hero Global, because I want to split these up. So for Global, and then we've got Villain, because Villain is first. So, yep, we got Villain first. All right, so for Villains Global, yeah, we have some pretty good choices. We have, obviously, Orcus is a great choice. So we've got Lady Deathstrike, Sentinel, Scientist Supreme, Nimrod. We obviously don't have... we have the full Orcus team, which is great. You're obviously going to drop one of them for probably Apocalypse, because Apocalypse at Gear 20 is going to be kind of essential to your roster, because he's still an absolutely insane character 2 years later, which also kudos to Scopely for making his kit last this long. That's pretty impressive. So I'd say Orcus is probably going to be your best bet. Cabal, if I'm being selfish and really want to make Cabal last longer because of Crucible, the only thing that could possibly make Cabal worth it is we do have the extra focus for villains outside of Crucible, but the problem is you don't get the extra damage outside of Crucible. So I think Cabal might be a bait to do. I think Orcus might be the way to go, which is really unfortunate because Orcus is becoming very old, and I don't think they are very worth building up other than Lady Deathstrike. You see Lady Deathstrike is my only Orcus member at level 105. We obviously have Omega Red Phoenix Force here, but no Phoenix because this is Villain. Obviously, Scarlet Witch is here as well, but the problem is Scarlet Witch is probably very low stars for most of you guys. She is new stats, but still, even at 2 yellow, she's only got 4 million health, so I don't know about Scarlet Witch, and then anything below that is pretty much trash. Because remember, you are going to have to get 3 stars on these nodes, and I'm presuming it's like a campaign node, so that means You can't have anybody die. So I'm really thinking you're going to need big characters. I think they're going to make you build Ares as well, because they're going to have characters on the other side spawning with Safeguard. So I think Ares might be a nice to have because of this part of his passive here about stopping Safeguard on spawn, and it's going to make him very good in these nodes. But unfortunately, he is just really a war character, and then he kind of just stands there in every other game mode. I'm honestly probably going to do Apocalypse, Nimrod, Lady Deathstrike, Sentinel, and probably Scientist Supreme. Those will probably be my choices. I'll probably end up dropping Omega Sentinel unless I see the node is very long and I need a lot of sustain, so I'll need the heals from Omega Sentinel. But Lady Deathstrike does do a lot of heals with her special and her ultimate, so that'll be really good. So that's most likely going to be my choice for global villain. Again, it's kind of unfortunate that Orcus is probably getting phased out relatively soon. But, you know, if it comes to that point, we're going to have to build them. So let's go over to Hero Global now. And we do have a lot more options. Oh, my God, I have a 3-diamond shield medic now. My roster is complete. Okay. Thanks for that, Scopely. Appreciate it. Let's get that out of my face. So for Global Hero, honestly, probably going to be Liberty is going to be pretty good here. Because everybody here is global hero. So I'm presuming Liberty is going to be pretty great in these nodes. Let's go back to global hero here. So unfortunately, building Liberty looks like it's going to be a non-negotiable because of Kiln Tower that was data mined, requiring Liberty, and then this node as well, because you're going to want new stats, right? Now, you can absolutely bring the Immortal X-Men because they are on here. So we have Beast, Polaris, Storm, Jean Grey. We've got Emma Frost X-Men as well, who's also got new stats. We've got Black Knight, who could be really, really helpful as well. We famously have Old Man Logan on this team as well. So we have a lot of options on this team. Captain Britain's on here as well. So we have a lot of options here. I think a decent amount of Astral is on here, just not Shadow King, obviously. We have Hercules. We'll take him up to 6 stars while we're sitting here and thinking about it. Cool. Below that, I don't really see you taking anybody in here. Cyclops, no. Red Hulk, Guardian, none of these. Again, I think it's going to need to be new stats, but it would be nice to bring up like Captain Britain selfishly for Crucible. I think Old Man Logan's going to be a no-brainer. You might need like a Nightcrawler because you might need some super quick speed with his special to get going really quickly. Black Knight could be really helpful as well if they're taking a bunch of turns and have preloaded turn meter, and you want Black Knight hitting into them a bunch of times with that retaliate charge mechanic. But I think, unfortunately, Liberty is going to be the prime selection here, other than like the 4-piece Immortal here, or even, yeah, the 4-piece Immortal here is another option. Obviously, we're missing Cable because I think he's a villain, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe you throw in like Ancient One or somebody else who's good. Notably about Phoenix, I don't think Phoenix is a good choice unless you are bringing in Storm, Polaris, Beast, and Jean Grey. And specifically Beast, because Beast has the only mechanic in the game that works like this. So if this character has 3 or more uncanny X-Men allies at the start of a match, the first ally death does not count towards the loss of a medal in champions and challenges. So if we look at uncanny X-Men here, we got this here. So we do have Phoenix, Storm, and Beast. Unfortunately, after that, we don't have anybody else. So he needs to have 3 or more allies. So that's not even an option either. So Phoenix is 100% out because you would lose the bonus and lose the chance of getting a 3-star there. So that's pretty unfortunate, but that's Hero Global. Let's go over to Villain Cosmic now. As you see, it's Cosmic, Villains Cosmic, and then Lilandra and Heroes Cosmic. So let's go to Villain Cosmic here in game, and then we will see. So for Villain Cosmic, we are going to have a plethora of options here. And I have a feeling this section is going to be absolutely nuts because we have some of the best characters in the game to go against these nodes. So we've got Annihilators, Super Skrull, Mephisto, Shadow King, Kang, Null. We've got some of the nastiest characters in the game. So my recommendation would honestly be, again, new stats are going to be really good. The only exception to this, I think, is going to be Mephisto. I think Mephisto is going to be a must-have here because they're most likely going to have revivers on the other side, or like Dormammu's or stuff like that. And the passive here is, while this character is alive, allies and enemies cannot be revived. So I think that's going to be essential to have on the field. Also, the battlefield mechanic, giving your team 50% extra armor, is going to be very, very, very nice to have. And then I think from there, it's going to be the three-piece Annihilators in Thanos, Gladiator, and Gore, because once again, new stats are going to be better than Super Skrull's kit. And I have a feeling they're going to put a lot of turn meter mechanics on the field that are going to stop Super Skrull. So I genuinely feel like the three-piece Annihilators, Thanos, Glad, and Gore, plus Mephisto is going to be your best four-piece right now. Now, as for number 5, I don't know if Null is going to be the best selection. And the reason why is because Null is only going to be unlocking at 4 yellow, 0 red on our roster. So at 4 yellow, 0 red, he could have a stat problem of just staying alive if it's going to come down to getting 3 stars on a campaign node. So Null could end up being a liability, but his kit is incredible with the darkness mechanic and all that good stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see if Null is really a help or he's a detriment and he puts you behind on gear. Also, what we have to presume is, remember, this is kind of like a Dark Dimension and we need gear tier 20. So you might want to take characters that are a little bit on the cheaper side as well, because Mephisto is going to be 5 gear pieces for Mystic. We also have Null, who's going to be most likely 5 gear pieces for Mystic, although he's not a mythic character or anything out of the ordinary, so it might just be 3. That would be really nice. But with the Annihilators, there's a good spread because we have Bio and Bio for Gladiator and Gore, and then we have Skill for Thanos, which is also really, really nice. So you're going to have to find that balance, and you might have to take a less good character, like maybe you want to take some mutant, and you want to take Shadow King because Shadow King is mutant, and you have extra mutant gear. Could absolutely do that. But again, I think Null might end up being a liability on your team. Now, let's go to Hero, and remember, we're only picking 4 characters here because Lilandra is a must here, so you have to use Lilandra. So you see Lilandra and Hero Cosmic here, and I think the unfortunate part is if you are not a big spender and you are not getting Lilandra up bigger and faster than anybody else, I think Lilandra is also going to be a detriment to your team, and I think that's how they are going to try to gate Professor X a little bit longer in case people did not get Lilandra at higher yellow and higher red quicker. So Lilandra is a must here no matter what. Obviously, Odin is an absolute must. There's no question about it. Odin needs to be on this team. Period, plain and simple. Odin and Lilandra, that's 2 spots down. I think the next no-brainer option is going to be Kahori because Kahori's kit is absolutely nuts. She gets 2 turns on spawn. Unless there is like a turn meter mechanic that breaks this that on these nodes, then she's going to be a must-have. Her ult is absolutely insane. Her special's also really good as well. So this does incredible, incredible things. Puts out offense down, bleeds, trauma, heal block, all those good things. So I think Kahori is another no-brainer. You could also do Starjammers, right? Because we have Lilandra, Howard, Groot, Rocket, and Odin. That's not a bad team, if I'm being honest with you. Howard's got a great kit. I know a lot of it's tied behind Crucible, but Howard's still got a great kit, and he is brand new, so you know he's going to be used for a very, very, very long time. And you know I'm a sucker for building Crucible teams. And we also have Havoc here, so you could bring the entire Starjammer team. I don't think that's smart because I think you're going to need Odin, but you could bring the entire Starjammer team, right? So that's awesome. You could drop, Groot, you could drop Howard, you could, whoever you want to drop, and then bring in Odin instead. Outside of that, I don't think there's anybody else really useful. You could bring in Doctor Strange because he does have a revive and it is not tied to any team or anything like that. So revive 2 dead random allies with 65% health. So that could be really helpful in reviving that super low Lilandra. That could be really helpful in reviving a super low Howard the Duck if you're bringing him. Anything like that. So my recommendation for this section would be Odin, Lilandra, because those are must-haves or requirements. And then probably just whoever you are going to use the most. Probably Kahori because she's great in Cosmic Crucible, great in War, all that good stuff. I really think Doctor Strange is going to be really helpful because he's got a great % health on his kit. Also, that revive is really, really good as well. And then from there, you could probably just bring some Starjammers, bring some new characters. Moondragon's not bad either because she has the astral callouts with Doctor Strange. She's also more healing as well, but I don't know if you're going to need that much healing. And then the rest down here are kind of meh. Maybe Absolute. You have a 3-piece Absolute here with Ms. Marvel Classic, Medusa, and Kahori, Odin, and Lilandra maybe, because you get a nice taunt from Ms. Marvel Classic, some big damage from Medusa. So that's another option as well. But it's going to be interesting to see what is on the nodes, to see what's going to counter things like Kahori. There's probably going to be things that are countering Odin, like Gores on the other, or Novas on the other side that are going to ult and remove Odin's battlefield effect. Cosmic Ghost Rider to remove the battlefield effect. So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be countering the characters you want to bring in for sure. So be very, very careful of that. And I would say, obviously, nobody has Gear Tier 20 right now, and a lot of us are not going to get Gear Tier 20 for quite a while. So once the nodes come out, I will probably make another video on this to see what ends up happening and what turn meter mechanics, stoppage is there, and all that kind of good stuff to see what tunes would be best to counter what is on the nodes. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you're as excited for Professor X as I am. And guess what? We've got the kit very, very soon for Professor X. So get hyped for that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, this has been Duelim. Later, MSFers.